Welcome to Pokemon Mythbusters, where we do really stupid experiments in Pokemon games and see what happens. Let's jump into it. This video is going to be centered around this shiny locked, uncatchable, level 100 Shadow Giratina encounter, available in the Distortion Zone in Ramanas Park, a brand new area exclusive to these remakes. You would normally encounter Shadow Giratina by purchasing the Distortion plate from the reception here. As I said, it comes at level 100, and beating it is how you are supposed to obtain the Grisius Orb to change your Giratina's form from its altered form to its origin form. That's cool and all, and this battle is really amazing little Easter egg for those who put enough time into the game. But that's not good enough for me. In this video, we're going to run a bunch of experiments to see what happens when we try to break this Shadow Giratina encounter. Let's get into it. Experiment number 1. What happens when you black out against Shadow Giratina? Now, obviously being level 100 makes this Shadow Giratina battle quite difficult. It is amongst the highest level boss battles in the history of Pokemon, and those who are unfortunate enough to come unprepared to this zone may end up having some, if not all, of their Pokemon faint. This is a simple, non-game breaking experiment, but we're going to see what happens so you guys don't have to. We're going to use our sacrificial level 21 Stunky to take the wrath of this Giratina. It's being sacrificed to the Distortion world in the name of science. I'm sorry, Stunky, it's just the way it has to be. We obtain our Distortion plate and head to the Distortion Zone to the east of Ramanas Park and use our plate to enter the realm where Shadow Giratina is hiding and start the encounter. We send out our little Stunky who could and take the entire power of the earth from Giratina, which obviously KOs it. Its cry as it faints will live with me for the rest of my life, and we scurry away back to the nearest Pokemon Center. I can't really imagine Giratina letting us just leave the Distortion world without any issue. I imagine it would feel quite insulted and angry that we would dare disturb it in its home. But somehow we escape still alive, and we're able to go heal physically and mentally. Now, this experiment is important because we see if we're able to return back to the strange space from the Distortion Zone, and unfortunately we cannot. If you lose that battle, you will also lose the Distortion plate that you purchased with your mysterious shards. So the lesson learned here is, don't come to this area to battle Giratina unless you are certain you can defeat it. Even then, save before taking on Shadow Giratina just in case it gets a lucky crit against you and somehow manages to wipe out all of your Pokemon. If you lose, you will lose your Distortion plate and you'll have to farm for more mysterious shards and buy another one, which will waste your time and resources. Okay. On to the next experiment. Now, a little warning. It should be noted, the next two experiments require a Nintendo Switch with custom firmware, and thus can't be performed on standard, unhacked Nintendo Switches. I don't endorse use of this, it's just necessary to perform these experiments. Experiment number 2. What happens if you encounter a shiny Shadow Giratina? Using a third-party modification, we're able to guarantee every Pokemon we encounter will be shiny. Even though it's all illegitimate, it's still nice to see Pokemon with their alternative color palettes. It's just different. Using this tool, we are going to head to the Distortion Zone to see what shiny Shadow Giratina looks like. And even though we know it's uncatchable, in fact, you can't even throw Pokeballs at it in the first place, we're going to try anyway because we'd be a fool not to. Now we go to encounter it and we get the shiny sparkles. However, it doesn't look any different, which isn't much of a surprise, but let me explain why this is possible. All Pokemon, even those who are shiny locked or uncatchable, are given shiny textures just in case, I don't know, some idiot like me decides to do something exactly like this, triggering a shiny encounter with this Pokemon. They have shiny textures in the game just in case someone does this, so the game doesn't crash immediately at the beginning of the encounter. While unfortunately the textures in this case aren't any different, it's still really cool to see this Shadow Giratina shine. We go to throw a Pokeball at it, and unfortunately the game just completely prevents us from doing so. We even go to throw a Master Ball and we're prevented from doing even that. As of right now, there's no way to disable this lock, but as soon as there is, I'll definitely give it a go in another video. It's very painful to have to wipe out this very special shiny Shadow Giratina, but it has to be done, unfortunately. So eventually we wipe out the literal being of Pokemon Hell. I tried to do a little bit of hack work to see if I could inject a replica of this Shiny Shadow Giratina into my game. Unfortunately, despite me trying to place it into my PC boxes to show you, it just doesn't appear. This is probably some kind of protection against it crashing your game. Obviously, having this Shadow Giratina in your PC boxes isn't meant to be possible, let alone a shiny variant isn't even supposed to be encounterable, so it's no real surprise. I'm just disappointed that the game has defeated me. So, well done, Ilka. Ilka 1, PD Winnel 0. On to the next experiment. Experiment number 3, what happens if we break the boundaries of the Distortion Zone and Strange Space? Now, using another third-party modification, we are able to walk through walls and escape any boundaries the game puts on us, allowing us to explore wherever we want. We're going to do that here in the Distortion Zone and Strange Space just to see if there's any Easter eggs Ilka may have left and see if there's any evidence of Ilka maybe initially intending on expanding this area further in development but maybe not being able to due to time constraints or something like that. First we'll look in the Distortion Zone, and unfortunately it does just seem like it was intended to be a corridor. There's all kinds of floating space rocks and a large sky map which is supposed to imitate space. It all looks very cool and expands quite far due to the perspective of the room, but nothing secret hiding around here. We try to use our bicycle here, but Professor Rowan tells us that's not a very appropriate thing to do, which is fair enough. We're floating in space. So we'll give you the benefit of the doubt, Rowan. We head into Strange Space, where Shadow Giratina inhabits, and again, it looks like a lot of the same textures, the same large sky map with thousands of stars littered everywhere, the same space rocks. We run outside of the boundaries, which looked kind of funny to me. We just run through the sky map, and unfortunately there's nothing hidden behind there either. You are able to run up behind Shadow Giratina and initiate the encounter from behind, where your character will walk a few paces and initiate the battle from the standard position, which I thought was pretty cool, but no massive discovery here in either of these spaces, unfortunately. Still fun to look around and see everything Ilka did to make the room work though. Despite there not being anything here, as someone who is really interested in seeing the tricks that game developers use to make games work as well as they do, this is still a really cool look at how Ilka have made this place work, and see a few things beyond what they intended us to see that you guys would never see. Breaking the boundaries of a game isn't an original concept. YouTuber She Says has a really fantastic in-depth series called Boundary Break, breaking the boundaries of many games to see just how developers made some areas work. I recommend you check it out if this at all interests you. Definite inspiration from that series was taken for this segment. That's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed. A like would be amazing if you did, and feel free to dislike and leave a comment telling me what I could have done better if you didn't maybe enjoy. Also feel free to leave a comment with more experiment ideas that you want to see done in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. They might make it into a future video. Subscribe so you don't miss any more videos like this one, and I'll see you in the next one.